All right, before we get to TakeOver Night 2, earlier in the afternoon, Real NXT Sideshow was available on Peacock and the WWE Network, which is NXT UK, when they presented NXT UK Prelude. So before we get into TakeOver, talk about this show here. Started off, we had Noam Dar and Tyler Bate going at it in a Heritage Rules match. Like a lot of Heritage Rules matches, there's a lot of times a shock pinfall that pops up, and this match definitely had it. Tyler Bate, you can't go wrong with. You can put him against, a fellow cruiserweight like Noam Dar. You come up against a super heavyweight like Walter, and he's going to deliver a fantastic match. The Noam Dar, he is great. And he's much like Finn Balor, as a cruiserweight who just happens to be more ripped than guys who are 100 pounds more than him, 50 pounds more than him. The dude's in great shape, and Noam Dar is not just one of the best mic men on NXT UK, but he's untapped in the ring. Like, I was kind of hoping he was going to win it, because I would love to see Noam Dar get a title at some point in WWE. But regardless, it was a great match. Tyler Bate won, so he'll be going on to face A-Kid for the title pretty soon, which I'm sure they'll probably have in about 2 or 3 weeks. Fantastic match. Noam Dar, he's one person who I think if Jordan Devlin did bring the NXT Cruiserweight title back to the UK, Noam Dar easily would have been a perfect top contender. But yeah, I definitely hope that Dar, maybe even put him in a tag division now. I think you could easily put Dar there.
Him and Samuels as a tag team would be fun.
Yeah.
Could be.
I would love to see them get a tag title run. But Tyler Bate and A-Kid, when that match happens, it's going to be another 5-star classic. NXT UK does at least 1, if not 2 of those a month. And that's going to be happening again here within the next month, I assume.
It's a great match. The Heritage Cups are great for just their sheer difference from anything that happens in wrestling, and it's also much like you can speak more to the pure title matches, but it's also the Heritage Cup has those aspects of
it does. I think both the Heritage Cup tournament that they had during the fall and the pure tournament that they had during the fall, for me, they were the 2 best things going on in wrestling at that time. And if you want, I want to use the word pure for this, but it's really only the best word to use. If you want to use, pure wrestling and that original ROH or 80s NWA style, where it's legit wrestling style, you can't go wrong with ROH's pure title or NXT UK's heritage title, because you're destined to get at least a 10-minute match. It's going to be excellent from bell to bell.
Exactly.
And Tyler Bate, if he wins it, it'd be great for him, because I could see Tyler Bate eventually being the first Triple Crown winner in NXT UK, if him and Seven ever win the UK tag titles. But I think he could easily be a person to take the entire Triple Crown.
Bate is just great. Bate has the physique, technique. He has everything. He didn't even the physique is also new as well. That's you gotta when he first won the UK Championship. I'm not gonna say he was in bad shape, but he didn't look as ripped as he was now.
Yes.
He worked on himself. He looks more like a legit. He looks. I'm not gonna say he looks more like a pro wrestling. He looks more like an actual fighter, like how an MMA fighter should get, like how a middleweight or like a lightweight champion should look. That's his look. And
yes. And especially being more scruffy now with the full beard.
Yeah, and also having seconds in this match made it it completely changed the complexion of how you're looking at it. It had more like of the boxing feeling thing, especially Shaw Samuels. Shaw Samuels, like whenever he's in the ring or whenever he's wrestling or anything, I don't watch his movesets or whatever. Like just his mannerisms are enough to keep you entertained, tell you a story, and do everything. And he is perfect for that. He was doing that stuff in ICW, and he even did it in World of Sport for the few episodes that they ran there. And he's just he's a character that makes you gravitate towards him. Like, I want to see what's going on with this guy. And he, if I remember correctly, him and Dar were actually a tandem, or like they had this pinky party thing going on in ICW until Dar left, and then he carried on for a long. He's usually a comedy character, but he's walking that line in here. He's not purely a comedy character. He's more like the serious character that can lean into comedy or just happens to be funny while doing serious things.
Right.
But the way he was he actually sounded like a boxing cornerman. That was great. Not to say that Trent Seven was not doing the same job, but they were focusing more on Shaw's end because Shaw was more animated, and it added a lot to this match. It made you actually, if you're sometimes for these Heritage Cups, you might feel a slight disconnect between rounds, even though it's 30 seconds, but you're like, the action is over. But having seconds there, it kept you engaged for the whole thing from beginning to end. And and I just I love the stories that get told during the Heritage Cup matches. It's
definitely,
because after that first fall, there is always that story of the one guy trying to catch up with the other guy, and then after that second one, there's desperation because the rounds are ending and we want to know who's gonna win. So great match. A-Kid versus Bate is gonna be probably awesome. I think since it's their second match, Tyler Bate's gonna win it.
I'm thinking so too.
Sure. Either that, or if A-Kid wins, it sends Tyler Bate off the deep end. So
yeah, because I've been thinking he might be turning here pretty soon. Because I originally thought he was going to be training for the brand back in November. I was thinking they might be bringing him in, join that faction. But then I was thinking a couple weeks ago that he might turn on Seven, and then yesterday I was thinking Seven might turn on him. I do definitely think there might be turn eventually between those two. I don't think it's needed, but I feel it's going to happen.
Yeah, I feel it's going to happen. It's I think A-Kid cannot be the bad guy. A-Kid is way too likable to be a bad guy. Tyler Bate is in the same boat, but you can buy Tyler Bate as turning into a stone cold killer. He's
you could, yes.
He's just
he has those those. His eyes are kind of piercing.
Yeah,
where
he has this.
You can easily just flip that switch.
Okay, something's wrong with this guy.
Yeah,
and yes. So and while Seven might be able to do it, but Seven has this quality that just makes you want to cheer for him all the time. You want to see this guy make it. You want to see this guy get redemption. So I think turning Seven heel is going to be a mistake. It might work, but from my outlook, it doesn't work. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Dar next week is going to be on his show, so Dar is again himself in one of those positions where a loss does not hurt him.
Doesn't he's kind of been that way even on 205 Live.
Yeah,
he has a Ben Linus syndrome where you can keep beating him down, but he keeps popping back up because he's a guy who knows how to take a beating. So he's had that for the past 5 years. The dude, he's almost I don't want to overhype him, he is very, very Roddy Piper-esque with his. That he doesn't necessarily need a title, but I'd love for him to get a title because his show is brilliant and he's great in the ring.
Yeah, he's amazing. And what was next on the show? Was it
The next one was the tag match.
Yeah. We have a lot to say about that.
So we had Miko Satomura and Miley McKenzie versus greatest female wrestler in the game today.
Agreed.
Haley Ray and her partner Isla Dawn.
Greatest gatekeeper in the game. Did I say?
Isla has finally developed something. I didn't really like Kaylee Ray turning heel, and it did feel like a tribute to the Troops type match.
Yeah, it's just thrown together,
or like a Raw Christmas show.
Yeah, it felt like they wanted Kaylee Ray on the show because she's the women's champion, and they didn't have something solid for her yet or a direction, so they just threw this one together.
And UK doesn't really do a lot of women's tag matches, but this match actually was awesome. Like, all 4 women got showcased, so I'm not sure exactly who's going to be going to which program quite yet. Isla Dawn is still basically in the same spot she was in a couple weeks ago. Satomura, the veteran in the match. Then you had Mackenzie and Kaylee Ray, who were teasing what they're going to be doing in like a month or two. I'm thinking it's probably going to be closer to 2 months down the line when they finally have their match.
Yeah, I think Mackenzie's going to have her hands full with Isla for a while. Then,
yeah, and the way that those two interacted, it's perfect match that you could easily show Jim Cornette. I think this would be a women's match that he would like, because if you watch yesterday, Haley Ray gives, I don't want to say stiff, but the way that she lands, like she throws her body into her maneuvers, and Miley McKenzie sells incredibly. Like, she feels like an old school baby face.
Yeah, Mackenzie has that synthetic that she can get scare. Like you'd be watching and, oh god, the poor girl, she got killed.
Yes. And Kaylee Ray has, granted, I was liking her as a baby face, but she's a great heel. She's one of the best because she is sinister. But when they finally have their match, especially if it's built properly, it'll have a huge fight feel to it. Right now, it's one of my more anticipated matches. I think they easily could have done it face versus face. I have faith in UK to give us a great match down the line.
And give us something that's,
yes, and because like yesterday, I wasn't really the most anticipated for that tag match because I thought it was thrown together. The tag match wound up being, it probably wasn't the best match of the show, but there was not a single bad match on the show.
Yeah. Well, what did
definitely felt like.
Yeah, it felt like it was going somewhere.
Yes.
And it was fun. It was also fun. It's not like just it's also a fun match to watch. What did you think about Iva Valkyrie coming out and placing that feather?
Yeah. Maybe that might be Satomura's next program, because I don't really know if they're going to have her against Kaylee Ray yet. I'm thinking Satomura.
Well, I mean, it was Miko and
maybe Kaylee
in the ring, so it's probably Satomura.
Yeah. Maybe they have the program and Mackenzie and Isla Dawn have a program. Not sure what Kaylee Ray will be doing for the next month, unless she's just backing Isla Dawn.
She's just or just sitting on the throne waiting for the challenger to emerge.
Yeah. I mean, they easily could throw in honestly, they could throw Nina Samuels and Zaya Brookside into like a anything with
I was
Kaylee right here.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of a little disappointed that they didn't have a follow up until now for Nina Samuels and Zaya Brookside. I was hoping like we can get some sort of an odd couple tag team or something.
Same.
Yeah, but they just killed it after the end of that month. It's been 2 weeks now, and we don't know what happened after.
And I'm actually gonna be right back.
Yeah.
All right. So main event we had was Walter in his kayfabe second match in 24 hours versus Rampage Brown, and honestly thought they were going to have this match end in a no contest or both of them being knocked out, double DQ, full count out, anything like that, because it wasn't thrown together. I mean, it was a
felt rushed.
vastly booked program.
Yeah.
Yes.
It felt like Rampage was destined for a bigger thing.
Which is odd because NXT UK usually makes Walter's matches a big fight. You know, they put it onto an actual, I don't want to say a thematic episode of UK, but a named episode of UK. Like they were making this episode seem like it was bigger by calling it Prelude. It's Mania weekend, but I think they should have held off on this match for at least another month. You know, just let him focus in on Ciampa, and I was hoping that on overnight one that they would at least have like a video package of Rampage talking about how, you know, whomever the winner of this match is, you know, like 18 hours from now you have to face me over in, you know, England, but it never happened. But regardless, the end result is the important factor.
Yeah.
And the end result was a hard-hitting match that I'm surprised it was not won in a dirty fashion. It was pretty decisive. So I'm not sure exactly where they're going to be going after this. But yeah, I mean, I literally thought it was going to be like a double DQ or something going in, but I was pleasantly surprised with how the match ended. It's not how I would have done it for this feud. I definitely would have had it end in a shady way.
Double count
just so you can continue it.
Double disqualification, or maybe a no contest where both people men can continue.
Yes.
Yeah, something that makes it, because it feels like now they hotshotted Rampage Brown and now there's nowhere for him to go. It's kind of like for the amount of crap that we on a personal level give AEW for doing stuff like that, UK sort of did the same thing in this one.
It did, because you built up, you know, Gallus collapsing because Gallus lost the tag titles and Joe Coffey lost the Rampage. A match of respect between those two, and okay, they're going to be building up Rampage here. You know, I thought maybe they'd have him in a small program with somebody else, you know, like let's just say Noam Dar or somebody for like a month, and then have him and Walter finally have their collision. You know, tease it, but don't have the match happen quite yet. But now there's really no reason that he would actually qualify for a rematch right now, unless he wins, you know, like an actual contenders match,
like a battle royal or a tournament or something like that. But
yeah.
then again, like you still don't want to see it now. You're gonna have to. You're gonna want to see it like months down the road now, because we just.
Yes, it's the same with like Dragunov.
Exactly.
His defeat. That's how you should do it. Like, he's built him up strong. He lost. He's still booked strong, but he's unraveling because he's trying to get back to that title picture.
And that's.
But now, you know, Rampage.
You can't run the same story with Rampage. It's going to be redundant.
Especially with Rampage.
Yeah, and
because if you look at Dragunov, can be like, oh yeah, you know what, I want a champion behind this guy because he's a small guy. like he's scrappy and he's kind of vicious in the ring. I kind of want to see this guy redeem himself and finally get a second shot, 6 months down the line. But with Rampage, all you're going to be seeing is him,
destroying everything,
working out in the back, or yes, it's going to be a completely different atmosphere.
Unless they turn him heel,
which I think they will. I'm honestly surprised he hasn't been heel yet there. When he first came in, he could have gone either direction.
Yeah.
They had him and Gallus and Buttheads, which Gallus, of course, are baby faces who never really officially turned babyface. They just became, drunken hooligans, basically.
Yeah.
Yes. They want to fight people, then go backstage and just cheer in their locker room for no reason, which I love. I love seeing Gallus backstage.
It's like they're sometimes they border on the goofy, but it works for them. It's
yes.
You can tell,
it feels legit. They feel like they would be actual footballers or rugby guys that focus in on their athleticism, but then when they're off the field, they just want to
have fun,
have a great time for themselves and celebrate. That's what works for Gallus. At Rampage, he's been portrayed pretty stoic the past 2 months.
He's pretty much been portrayed as a prize fighter. That's the thing. He's just he's the guy who's like a badass heavyweight that wants to get the title. That's his whole thing is just competition. He's not he's not mean spirited. He's not stand up for the little guy type of it. He just he wants competition. That's it.
Yes. I don't know who is next for Walter.
Yeah. I mean, I think lately Triple H and Shawn Michaels talked about him staying in the U.S. for a while, so.
Which they could do, because, I mean, they could easily, if they did that way, it would make sense, because you could have him have some defenses here.
Yeah, and then there's a vacuum that needs to be filled in NXT UK. Yeah. Yes.
And it also builds up the Heritage Cup title as the main title for a little while. And so then when he does return, waiting for Walter can either be Trent Seven, Dragunov, Tyler Bate, Rampage. So you could easily build him up for a couple of months. Let's just say till July or so. Say he does a 2-month tour here. I guess that would be a 3-month tour, but I mean, you could have him do a few months here.
Yeah, some matches. And there's a lot of interesting opponents for him, and then you have the whole stable of Imperium here. So I mean, if they want to do something with them, it's better to have Walter with them far.
I'm sure, because they've already planted a couple of seeds. You could easily have Walter versus Killian Dane.
Yeah,
Walter versus Timothy Thatcher. Because Imperium has tried to get both Dane and Thatcher to join their ranks, which they don't need more than 4. So I think they could easily have Thatcher and Dane both go against Walter.
Yeah.
Especially Dane, because Walter already took on Drake Maverick, so there's built-in stuff right there also.
Yeah, and remember that there's this, they had this little weird thread a couple of weeks ago where Dane was looking for, where Maverick, was looking for Dane, and bust into Imperium's locker room, and that didn't go anywhere after this match. So there was still that mystery. There's still that mystery of why was Dane missing? Why did he think that Dane was with them? Like you said, that face off between Dane and Wolf. There's a lot of I think Killian Dane and Maverick are going to be priority, or they could do both at the same time, also concurrently. There's 4 of them, so you can do both stories.
They easily could. And also, Imperium, if they're going to be sticking around in the U.S., there's another team, like we were talking about earlier, that could be in the tag team hunt as well.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and we haven't seen them in action for so long, but Eichner and Barthel are amazing. They're a very underrated.
Yes, they are.
They're a very underrated tag team.
And
yeah,
and Wolf just has that. He still has that sanity.
he still has. Yeah, he still has
but
that,
in a completely different package now.
yeah, he has that.
He's
you know, madness
he still
bubbling.
looks like he's unhinged.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, do you remember, like, you and I were raving about that one time when he went and got a match with who was it? Show Coffee, where he went to Saint and got that match, and like you were saying, like the guy looks so freaking
like that
sinister and
smile he
scary.
had.
Yeah, he looks like
He does that like half smile.
yeah, he looks like a mix between a James Bond villain and a John McClane villain. So
He does, yes. And like his eyes are very telling too, because he tilts his head and he just has like he just
and
looks sadistic and
you know, that weird shine that only evil guys have. It's
yes.
It's the guy's great. So
and NXT UK Prelude was great episode. I'm glad they didn't show Walter on night 2, because they showed a few people from night 1 on night 2 in the crowd, and I was like, God, if they're going to show Walter in the crowad, that's just completely
just gonna say hell with it. Like, yeah, you know, you guys know this is not real. You know it's not real. It's sort of like an AEW type of wink type of thing. Okay.
Yes.
Yes. Wow, we're going.
Exactly.
Wow, I'm feeling real free with taking these shots today. I don't know what's going on. Thank you for joining us on the Outlaw Macho Drive-In. If you liked that video, please click like and subscribe to our channel for more content from the Drive-In. For full episodes of our podcast, you may look us up on Anchor, Spotify, or wherever your favorite podcasts are available. Just search for Outlaw Macho Drive-In. And if it's not too much trouble, would you help us out here? Spread the word, share. We would really appreciate it. Thank you. We love you. Bye.